bleeding out behind that busted ridge. When he pushed the heavy doors of the black cathedral open inside, dead quiet, cold stone floor, ceiling tall as a demon's throat, waiting to swallow center hole. Blood dripped off his fingertips, each drop hitting the marble like a guilty drum beat. His shadow stretched long down the aisle, dragging every wrong turn he'd ever taken. He paused, white blood across the silver cross hanging off his neck, then whispered under his breath, I ain't here to hide, I'm here to answer. The air stirred, something ancient listened, and every damn candle lit itself when he walked in, flames rising slow like they recognized him. Darkness didn't swallow him, it bowed, quiet as a truth you cannot run, 'cause darkness lights itself for the one who walks unafraid. Yeah, it lit the whole cathedral just to see his face. Beside a shattered pew, pulled a worn Bible from his coat. Pages burned at the edges, a woman's voice echoed in his memory. Soft but sharp as broken whiskey glass. You want salvation, then bleed honest. Hell, she loved him wild and left him wilder. He sliced his thumb with his own knife, let the blood drip onto that ruined scripture. A crooked little ritual for the sins he kept carrying. The stained glass above him flickered, colors shifting like the church itself was watching him confess. He looked up at the crucifix hanging crooked, asked it plain, without fear, you want me to kneel or stand? The wooden cross groaned in the rafters, answering without words, just the sound of something old letting go. And those candles flared higher when he rose to his feet, shadows pulling back like wolves leaving a rightful king alone. Light crawled across the stone walls, revealing scars, names, prayers long forgotten, but they glowed for him. 'Cause darkness lights itself for the one who walks unafraid, and the damn makes space for a man who won't run. He walked out slow, boots echoing like a verted past. His blood on the floor, his sins on the flame. No halo, no redemption yet, just that cold, clear truth he yearned. Sometimes the light don't say things, just a shut of space. Just respects you. It just respects you. It just respects you. You woke up on the cold side of dawn, sky darker than a closed coffin lid. No birds, no breath, just a horizon that looked dead set on staying dead. Your hand shook when you pushed yourself upright, dust falling off your coat like old regrets. Your knees wobbled but you stood anyway, slow, stubborn like a man who refused to stay on the ground he bled on. Desert held its breath, even the dark leaned in to watch. You whispered into that dead sky, If something out there's listening, I'm still here. Silence cracked, thin as glass, thin as hope. And the black sun rose, 'cause you dared. Climbing up slow from behind the ridge, like it was learning how to breathe again. Light bled across the dirt, cold and dark but moving, asking you, matching you, rising for you. If the sun rises for your eyes, then you keep rising. That's a law the dark can't break. That wild, ruin-hearted woman who once told you a man's only beaten when he chooses the floor. Her voice stuck in your chest like a nail holding up a dying roof. You reached inside your coat, pulled out her burned matchbook, edges blackened from the night. Everything went wrong. You flipped it open, struck a flame, tiny stubborn, same as you held it up. Told the dark sky as a crooked little ritual, a way of saying you weren't finished yet. The black sun brightened just a shade, but enough to see. You squared your shoulders like a man meeting judgment halfway, and muttered, if daybreak needs me, I'll show up. The horizon trembled, dark, given ground. Then the black sun climbed higher, pulling light out of the void like it was borrowing your spine to stand up straight. Shadows peel back from the dirt, making room for your footsteps, your breath, your eyes. If the sun rises for your eyes, then keep standing, keep moving, keep drawing breath, even when the world feels too heavy to carry. You walked forward into that dark dawn, boots hitting the earth with purpose, knowing the sky didn't save you. It just followed the man who refused to stay down. Sitting in the ruins, glowing red like the sunrise made of rage. Metal drips slow from its arms, each drop hissing on the stone like it wanted to burn my damn name away. Each rolled off it in waves, hitting my skin like every mistake I tried forgetting, but I kept walking. Boots crunching ash, cold pulling smoke behind me like a shadow too stubborn to leave. I reached out through the heat shimmer, felt the air bite like teeth, and I said low, if power's looking to scare me, it showed up late. Metal quivered, the glow deepened. When my hand touched it, the whole damn throat softened. Red hot iron sagged under my palm, bending, melting, shaping itself around my grip, like it waited years for someone not afraid to burn. voice in that heat. Wild, wicked, warm like a sin, you never stop loving. She told me once, a man scared of pain ain't meant for anything sharp. That truth crawled up my spine like smoke from a dying campfire. Still I carried her broken silver ring in the pocket over my heart. A scarred little circle that reminded me who I used to be and who I ain't no more. I pressed the ring to the throne, watching metal kiss metal, a makeshift ritual. To mark the moment I stopped running, the throne roared low like breath from a tired beast. Waking up, sweated my brow and sizzled, but I didn't back off an inch. I leaned closer and growled, "Melt if you want, I ain't changing shape." The iron trembled, like it was the one learning fear. Then the whole throne bowed toward me. Legs sagging, arms dropping, iron flowing like dark honey toward the hand that claimed it without asking. He wrapped around my fingers, folding into new form. Not a crown, not a seat, but something raw and real, something that matched the man I'd become. Power reshapes for the man who won't flinch, for the sinner who stands his ground in the fire, for the outlaw who knows pain ain't punishment, it's proof. I step back, hands still smoking, heart beating slow and sure, knowing I didn't just touch the throne. I made it move. He walked the cliff trail at near dusk, sky bruised purple, the world leaning sideways with trouble. Black wind came screaming up the canyon, trying to knock him clean into the dark below. His boots dragged slow, heavy like every mile of sin he'd hauled this far. Dust whipped his coat, edges flapping like torn scripture behind him. Still he kept walking, chin down, eyes cut thin against the grit. The wind roared right in his face, mocking, pushing, begging him to fall. He spat into the gale and growled, "If you're here to take me, you better do it honest." Canyon held its breath, the wind twitched. Then the black wind shifted, dipping low behind his shoulders, like it changed its mind about killing him. It curled under his weight, lifting him step by step, carrying the man it tried to throw away. 'Cause even doom carries the man who refuses to fall. Even the dark respects the stubborn. He remembered her voice in that wind, wild, sharp, burning like whiskey spill in a fresh wound. She once told him, "You don't break easy, but you break loud." That truth stuck deep, cut deeper than the cold. Still it ritual to steady his breath. Blood from his thumb smearing its edges, little vow to keep standing. The wind softened, almost listening. He planted his heel firm on the narrowest part of the trail and said through grit teeth, push me or lift me, I ain't stopping. The wind paused, like choosing sides, and then it rose behind him fully, curling up his coat, shoving his back forward like a dark-winged beast, deciding he was worth carrying. Every step hit the stone cleaner, surer, as the black wind held him up, lifting the weight of a man too stubborn to kneel. Yeah, doom itself carries a man who refuses to fall, the outlaw who walks through hell with slow, steady boots, the sinner who stands tall, even when the sky don't love him back. He climbed that last ridge, wind bowing at his spine, and he didn't smile, but he sure as hell didn't stumble. Some storms break men, this one learned his name. Sundown, water still as a closed casket, sky hanging low like it was tidal, watching me sin. Folks say there's a church bell down there drowned 100 years back, when the old town slid under the mud. Heard since, not even the wind remembers its voice. I walked the shoreline slow, boots sinking in cold mud, my breath fogging like a ghost trying to take shape. I leaned over that black water and said my name under my breath, just to see if the world still cared. Then louder, if anything down there listens, I'm still standing. The lake shuddered like some old ogre, and that drown bell rang from way down in the dark below. Every moan that carried my name right back at me, ripples spread out like a warning. Oh, welcome. I couldn't tell which, but I knew this much. Depths rise for a man who's walked the worst. They don't fear him, they recognize him. I knelt at the water's edge, pulled out the blood stain like it she left me. The one crack down the middle like we split our souls uneven. Headed over the lake, let a drop of my own blood fall. A small red ritual, a way of saying I ain't hiding from what I lost. The bell answered again, faint and slow, as if the deep was speaking her name too. I whispered to the dark water, sign I ain't alone. The lake poured inward like breath before a word. I felt the hair rise on my neck when I muttered, if there's truth down there, let it meet me halfway. Echo climb closer this time. Then the drown bell rode up again, louder, clearer, like it broke through a century of silence just to answer a man too stubborn to drown. The water lit up with pale shimmer ripples glowing around my boots, like the lake was giving me its blessing or its warning. Rise for the man who's walked through worse, for the outlaw's shoulders guilt and keeps walking, for the sinner who ain't scared to hear his own name echo back from the dark. I turn from the lake, boots heavy with mud and memory, knowing the world ain't saved me, finally spoke back when I refused to stay silent. Found me walking through that dead field, fog sitting thick like a earth swallowed every scream, rows of graves stretched out crooked, leaning like drunk ghosts too tired to stand straight. I stopped in the center, boots singing in the soft dirt and old stories. The night pressed down on my shoulders, asking if I still had breath left to answer. So I spoke my own name, half challenge, half worn out truth. The word hung in the air, cold as a blade, waiting for a throw. I said it again, louder this time. You hear me? I ain't done yet. The fog shivered, the ground stirred, and the grave whispered my name back. So shaking like the dead were finally speaking for me. Storm markers vibrated, dirt shuddered as if 1,000 buried truths finally recognized the man who wouldn't stay quiet. Even the dead speak, for a man who refuses silence, for the stubborn, for the sinner, for the outlaw who calls himself out loud. I knelt beside a broken headstone, letters worn off like the world forgot the soul beneath it. Pulled my old pocket mirror from my coat, the one cracked down the middle like my own damn past. I held it up to the moonlight, saw a face carved from mistakes and midnight grit. And I told that reflection, you ain't dying quiet, not tonight. Then I cut my thumb with my blade, let my blood drip on the forgotten stone. A crooked ritual, a promise that I carry the names time left behind. The earth warmed under my hand. I stood up slow, dirt clinging to my boots like oatmeal. And I growled, if the dead got something to say, I'm listening. The graves rustle, soft as breath, and they whisper again, clearer, louder, my name echoing through bone and soil. Not to hold me, not to claim me, but to acknowledge me, a man who crawled out of his own silence, standing tall in a field meant for endings, yeah. Even the dead speak for the man who refuses to stay quiet. Walked out of that graveyard, boots heavy but spirit sharp, knowing silence never wins against a man who calls his own name and walks forward anyway. Yeah. Leaning in the dirt, tilting sideways like it giving up on faith itself. Dry rock crawled through the wood, splinters sticking out like broken promises. He stepped close, sun setting low behind him, casting his shadow long across the ruined field, like judgment walking on two tired feet. He laid a hand on that cracked beam, breathing slow, steady, like he was asking it a question without words. The cross groaned under his touch, as if remembering all the men it failed. He muttered low and rough, if faith stands tall, stand with me. The wind stopped, the dust fell still, and that withered cross straight and slow but sure, like it felt his wheel running through the grain. Rock shook loose, dust dropped from its arms like old sins falling away. The whole damn thing stood upright, taller than it ever had, as if meeting a man who wouldn't bend. Yeah, faith stands tall for the man who stands first and don't save him. It just rises to match him. He remembered her voice then, that wild, ruinous love that always cut deeper than knives ever could. She once told him a man without a backbone ain't got no business looking for heaven. Her truth stung like salt in a fresh wound, but he carried her through every mile of dust behind him. He pulled her burned ribbon from his coat, wrapped it round across his arm. his palm like it knew the vow he just made. He looked it straight on, eyes steady as dry lightning, and said, "If you're waiting on me, I'm standing right here." The old wood answered with a long, deep breath of its own. And the cross lifted high, shoulders squaring, arms stretching, like it found its soul again. Light cracked through the clouds above, cold and thin, falling on him and the cross together. Not blessing him, just respecting him. Halfway by the man who refused to bow. The mountain of bones rose high as a swallow's sun. Why go stack like bad choices I made too young? Wind hits through ribcage caverns, making a sound like the dead arguing about me. Laid my hand on the first spine, felt every joint creak like I hated being touched by a sinner like me. Dust rolls around my boots, floating slow like memories I never asked for. Didn't turn back, didn't breathe soft, just stood up at that boneyard peak like I'd already claimed it. I dug my fingers in a skull-wide ridge and said real quiet, "If you're here to test me, you better lean hard." Ground trembled, bones shifted, the whole damn mountain listened, and the mountain lowered for me. Bones dropping into steps like it finally understood I wasn't quitting. Skulls rolled aside, ribs bent into ladders, the whole white peak bowing slow, making room for a man too stubborn to fall. Yeah, obstacles bow for the man who climbs anyway, for the sinner who ain't scared of the climb or the weight of his own name. Halfway up, I heard a voice on the wind, wild, fierce, mad as a storm in whiskey. Climb clean, boy, a coward dies halfway. I hated outright, she always was, loved her more for it. I pulled a old rusted necklace from my pocket, held it tight to the chain, cut my palm, blood dripped down the bones beneath me. A crooked little ritual, my own way of saying I ain't running no more. Mountain shivered under my boots like I felt the vow burn through me. I looked up at the peak like it was staring back and ground through grit teeth. Keep blowing or stay tall, either way I'm climbing. The bones answered, creaking like old gates accepting their fate. Then the whole damn ridge bowed deep. whisper, dropping into stare after stare. Got my boots up his spine like he'd been waiting on me all along. White bones glowed in the dying light, showing scars, carving sins edged long before mine. But tonight, they carried me. Yeah, obstacles bow for the man who climbs anyway. The outlaw who bleeds upward, the sinner who keeps rising, even when the world don't ask him to. I reached the top, breath cutting cold air clean. Knowing the mountain didn't surrender, it just stopped standing in the way of a man who refuses to bow. You walked up on that gallows at dawn, fog crawling low like the dead were waiting. Rope dangled there, swinging slow, cold as a promise with your name on it. You didn't shake, didn't pray, just stepped into the shadow of that beam. Like it owed you the truth, boards groaned under your boots, whispering every wrong turn you ever took. But you kept moving, chin high, breath steady. You touched that noose, rough him scratching your fingers raw, and you said soft but sharp enough to cut. I ain't here to run, I'm here to face what's mine. The wind froze, the rope shifted. You put your neck in the noose, not to die, but to look dead straight in the damn eyes. And that rope went slack, wouldn't tighten, wouldn't do its job, 'cause death steps aside for the man who steps toward it. It don't take you when you're ready to ride. You remember the voice then, wild, wicked, sweet as moonshine sin. She told you once, only cowards wait to die. A real man walks into it smiling. You hated that truth, loved her for saying it. Still hear it carved in your ribs. You pulled a scorched red bandana from your coat, tied it round your wrist. Your little ritual, your way of saying you weren't done paying debts. The gallows creak like it recognized your vow. You squared your shoulders, eyes burning with a man's last kind of courage. And you whispered, if I fall, I fall forward. The noose quivered but didn't close. Then the rope lifted off your neck slow, like it feared the weight of your will. Wind swung it aside, giving you back the breath it planned to steal. You stepped down, boots hitting wood like a verdict delivered. Even the gallows leaned away, timber shaking under the truth you carried. owns his sins. For the outlaw who stands tall in the shadow of the beam. Split open above me, storm twisting like a black serpent hungry for bone. Lightning tore the sky sideways, painting my shadow across the dirt like a wanted poster. Wind in my chest heart, pushing me back toward every mistake I tried outrunning. But I planted my boots deep, breathing loud, each exhale thumping like a war drum buried in my ribs. I raise my head slow, eyes burning against the rain. Storm rolled in my face, daring me to break the same way it broke the sky. I spit rain and grit and told it straight, I ain't moving back. If you're here to stop me, you better hit harder. The thunder paused like it heard me, and the whole damn storm shifted, twisting slow, like it didn't know what to do with a man standing tall. Wind spun round my back, pushing me forward instead of trying to bury me. Lightning ripped the dark above, showing the road like a jagged blessing. Storms obey the man who walks through them. They don't bow, but they follow. Rain washed dust off the scar on my cheek, the one she touched tonight. She left with half my soul. Her voice came back in the thunder, wild and bitter. You quit once, and it damn near killed you. I reached inside my coat, pulled out that short little Bible I never had the guts to open sober. Held it like a man holding his last excuse. I tore a page out, lit it with a spark from the storm, watched it curl in the rain, but refused to die. That was my ritual, my vow in flame. I raised that burning scrap and growled, voice cutting through the gale. If I fall, it'll be forward. The fire didn't go out, the rain just stepped aside. And the eternal storm bent behind me, a roaring beast turned into a wild horse. This wind driving my spine, it's thunder drumming for my march. Lightning cleared the sky and jagged trails, showing the path I bleed for, walk for, claim for myself. 'Cause storms just gets out of my way when I ride.
Midnight found him standing in that dead valley. Dust thick, sky bruised purple like an old wound. Around him fallen angels, eyes burning cold like blue fire. Wings torn to ribbons, feathers black as grave dirt. They circle slow, whispering sins he never outran. Every whisper cut him open, but he didn't blink, didn't bow. Just stared right back like he'd been waiting on this trial. They dragged a thumb across the scar on his jaw, the one she gave him the night she said, "Face was yours, die small." He muttered under his breath, not praying, not begging, just truth. I ain't looking away, not from what I broke, not from who I became. The angel stiffened, the valley held its breath, and they looked away first. Those red-born angels, those bird-winged judges of the dead, they broke their stare. 'Cause a man who won't blink is a man that can't break. Yeah, even ruin looks away from a man who won't. Darkness don't spare him, but he steps back. He reached into his coat and pulled out that old silver locket, the one scorched from the fire they both survived. He opened it slow, her face barely visible under certain time. He whispered to a picture, voice low, cracked but steady. You were the wild I couldn't hold, but you taught me how to stand. Then he cut his thumb with his knife, let the blood drip on the locket, a crooked ritual, a promise to stop running from the ghost he made. The angels flinched at the sight of his blood, like memory itself shook in its bones. He raised his head, eyes burning, same as theirs now, and he growled, "If you got judgment, speak it." But none did. Not a wing moved, not a flame I dared. So he took one step forward, and every fallen angel turned their face away. Shadows bending back, feathers rustling like fear in the wind. Light cracked across the valley floor, thin, sharp, holy in its own mean way. Didn't save him, didn't bless him, just marked the man who stood his ground. Yeah, even ruin looks away from a man who refuses to bow. A man stitched from sin, but built from grit. He walked on, boots steady on cursed dirt, knowing some redemption ain't given. It's earned when you outstar the darkness.
Night stretched long as a curse. No moon, no mercy, just that cold black hanging over me. I was on my knees in the dirt, head spinning like a bottle left open too long. Wind scraped my face raw, ashes blowing around me like the ghosts I never buried right. I pressed one hand to the ground, felt it shake like it didn't want me getting back up, but I pushed anyway. Bones creaking, breath scratching, pride bruised to hell. I spat blood in the dust and told the night, real quiet but real sharp, if you're waiting for me to stay down, you're gonna be waiting a long damn time. The world went still, even the dark listened. And when I stood up, the night trembled, shivered like it finally got tired of holding me down. A crack of light tore through the black, then it first hit me, like don't remembering its job. 'Cause even darkness gets tired of a man who keeps rising. It ain't pity, it ain't luck, it's respect. I remembered her voice then, wild, reckless, cutting deep as broken glass. Stand the hell up, boy, God ain't saving statues. She was fire, she was trouble, and she was right about everything that burned. I pulled her old silver pendant from my coat. The one stained with smoke and half a memory, held it tight till my palms done raw. My own little ritual, my own way of saying I wasn't done yet. The night shifted, like it recognized the promise in my grip. I told the dark through grit teeth and broken breath, I ain't dying laying down, not tonight, not ever. The ground quit shaking, the air stood back, and when I rose for height, the nights were open clean, split it from horizon to heaven. Like I finally understood, I wasn't quitting, light spilled through, cold and sharp, showing the road, showing the dust on my boots, showing the man I decided to be. Yeah, even darkness gets tired of a man who keeps rising, a fool who bleeds forward, a sinner too damn stubborn to quit. I walked on, breast steady, shoulders square, knowing dawn don't come for the blessed, it comes for the ones who stand back up in the dark. hands frozen like your time was done. His glass was cracked like an old confession, and the desert wind treated him mean, rolling across the dirt like it wanted you to see what quitting looked like. You leaned in close, sun cutting through the ruin haze, dust floating around you like ghosts you ain't buried right. You touched the glass and it bit you deep like a damn thing remember you. Blood hit the gears, they twitched. You held that clock real still, felt the whole desert hush its own. And you whispered half to the blood, half to the time you wasted. If living costs blood, hell, I'll pay first. The gears clenched, the dust jumped, then time started crawling again. Slow at first, then me, ticking like a heart learning how to fight. You didn't beg it, you didn't fear it, you just stood there, hand bleeding steady, and that was enough. 'Cause time moves again for the man who won't stay dead. It don't save you, it tests you into night you passed. You remember her voice, that wild love that burned through every bad habit you got. She told you once, a coward's clock dies early, a fighter's clock waits. You hated how right she was, you loved her for it too. That's the kind of love that ruins you honest. You opened your palm wider, let more blood drip into those rusted teeth. A ritual nobody taught you, just a promise you meant. The clock glowed faint red, like it finally recognized a man who refused to quit crawling toward his own name. You looked at that clock in his broken face and growled, if you're waiting on me, I'm standing right here. The desert wind circled back, carrying your grit with it. And the damn thing roared alive, ticks hitting hard like war drums. Time spilling forward like a river breaking loose. It didn't rise for mercy, it didn't rise for fate. It rose because you did. Yeah, time moves again for the man who won't stay dead, for the fool who bleeds forward, for the sinner who stands up anyway. You walked on boots dragging dust, but soul burning bright, knowing tomorrow ain't promised, but it's open to the man who refuses to quit. Dusk hit the ridge like a warning. Wouldn't carry that bone rattle home. An old damn forest made of skulls stacked high, staring with hollow judgment. step closer, boots crunching old sins underfoot. Every empty eye watch me whispering old stories I tried burying in dry dirt. I didn't whisper back, I didn't flinch, just breathing deep and let my name sit heavy on my tongue. I gripped the iron rosary in my coat, dried blood still stuck in the groove. And I said, real quiet but real certain, I ain't running, not from my dead, not from myself. The skull shivered, the wind stopped, judgment listened. Soon as I spoke my name, the skull split wide, bones bending back like they knew who walked the line. River of bone cleared in front of me, branches pulling away like they feared my spine. Cause the dead make way for a man who ain't scared of their damn verdict. A man whose face worse than ghosts and still kept moving. They didn't drag me under, they opened the path. Her voice hit me in the dark, wild and sweet as blue fire. Truth will chase you harder than any devil you try to outrun. I stopped beside a cracked skull, my old mark carved deep in his face. Pull my knife, cut my palm slow, let the blood fall, let the force see I ain't hiding anymore. The bone warm, like it remembered me. I whisper through clenched teeth, if something's hunting me, step out, I'm done bowing to shadows. The forest rumbled, not angry, just awake. I spoke my name again, and the whole damn forest leaned back, making room like I'd earned my place. Bones crack, old gills breaking off my shoulders. A cold blue light cut straight through the woods, guide me forward, not to forgive me, but to respect me. Cause the dead make way for a man who carries his sins honest and walks through judgment standing tall. I kept walking, boots steady, breath steady, knowing some truths never save you. They just stop standing in your way when you finally claim your name. Midnight was sitting heavy on that busted plane. Dust cutting my throat, wind asked me name. I'm still breathing. Above me, heaven hung 1,000 iron chains. Long as every damn sin I tried burying in the dirt, I stood there, shirt torn, shoulders bruised, listening to those links creak like ghosts calling my name. I muttered to my own shadow, ain't nothing left to scare you, boy. Step deeper into the part of myself, always avoid. Sky pushed down on my back, trying to make me kneel one last time. Blood on my knuckles, dust on my breath, heart I said, hell no, I ain't bowing for nobody. For nobody. Sky cracked open like a preacher losing faith. Every chance now there's judgment day. If they wanna meet down there, years too late. His chains fear the man who won't drop to his knees. A voice hit me from memory. Wild, sweet, dangerous as warm whiskey in winter. She once told me you keep running from your sins. One day they're gonna run faster. In hell that stuck with me like thorn and bone. I'll open that little silver locket, the one holding hands from the night I lost. Sprinkle some to the dirt. Small damn ritual for a woman I failed. Wind blew hard but the ash just stayed like it had something left to judge. Lightning rolled again, and this time I stared right back. I whispered, if God wants me tested, I'm standing right here. If the devil wants me claimed, he best walk his ass over. Shifted for me. If the heavens test my spine, the spine is my religion. If redemption loves the brave, then brave is what I'll be. 'Cause chains fit a man who won't drop to his knees. And I ain't bowing today. Not now.